Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Jocelyn at ngayon ay pag-uusapan natin ang mga kaganapan dito sa Amerika.
May isang green card holder ang Hinuli during his US citizenship interview. So ang mga green card holders po, pwede po silang mag-apply ng US citizenship. Pero meron pong mga questionnaire during the interview at doon po sa application na kapag kayo ay nagsusupport ng foreign terrorists, kayo ay hindi mabibigyan ng US citizenship or pwede itong ma-deny. So sa nangyaring ito, ang applicant ay isang pro-Palestinian activist. So ito po ang nangyari sa kanya. Hinuli po siya during his US citizenship interview.
That Columbia student, Mohsen Madawi, who was arrested yesterday by ICE agents in Vermont. Madawi, a Palestinian man and legal permanent U.S. resident who has had a green card for 10 years. His lawyers say he was detained yesterday in Vermont because of who he is and because he has advocated on behalf of Palestinians at campus protests. This is video of his arrest. Madawi co-founded the Palestinian Student Union at Columbia with Mahmoud Khalil, who can be deported on national security grounds, a judge ruled last week.
Nang ma-elect si President Donald J. Trump, inisyu niya ang isang executive order at ito ay ang Protecting the American People Against Invasion. Sa executive order na ito ay merong expanded deportation grounds for green card holders. So mas mahigpit na po ang mga rules pagdating sa mga green card holders dito sa Amerika. At titignan po ang iyong mga conviction or criminal conviction at pwede kang ma-deport kung ikaw ay ma-convict sa isang tinatawag na crime of moral turpitude or an aggravated felony. So either of these two ay pwede kang ma-deport. Mga halimbawa ng crimes of moral turpitude ay assault, failure to register, falsification of documents, misrepresentations, marriage fraud, smuggling, drug abuse, domestic violence, and driving under the influence. Yung crime of moral turpitude po ay kung nakomit ito during the first 5 years after admission to the US or kung dalawa or more na krimen of moral turpitude are committed. Kahit ang crime ay hindi kasama sa the same na criminal conduct, anytime after admission ay pwede pong maging dahilan para sa deportation. So karamihan po ng green card holder na nandito sa Amerika, ang mga deportable offense ay andito po sa tinatawag na crime of moral turpitude. Ang pangalawa pong crime na pwede pong reason for deportation ay ang tinatawag na aggravated felonies, which is different from criminal law. So, ibig sabihin po, may mga ibang offenses po katulad ng murder, rape, theft or violent crimes, drug or firearms trafficking, sexual abuse of a minor, child pornography, money laundering, or tax evasion involving more than 10,000, espionage, sabotage, treason, perjury, or terrorism.
So the people who are the most at risk in the immigration process, first and foremost, is obviously if you're not a U.S. citizen. So it doesn't matter if you're a resident or just a visa holder. You are at risk if you have some sort of criminal history. So if you're a green card holder, certain convictions make you removable, certain convictions do not. If you're here on a visa, however, and you have some sort of criminal history or arrest history, your risk is much higher because any arrest can technically revoke your visa. So it kind of varies, but that's the first level of risk, is the people that are here with some sort of criminal conviction. And then after that would be people who've overstayed their visas and they're no longer allowed to remain in the United States. They've been kind of flying under the radar. That's probably the next greatest risk group. So the U.S. government can see your social media. So if your social media is public, as obviously they can see everything. They are going to be able to track your social media. They can track what you post, what you're commenting on, what you're liking. I've seen them go in so far to look at the Telegram message groups, to look at the WhatsApp groups. So they're going to be able to track that and see what you are engaging in. And it's the U.S. government, so they just have to have what's called a reason to believe standard. So they don't have to prove you guilty by reasonable doubt, preponderance of evidence. None of that stuff matters. It's reason to believe. So if they have reason to believe that you're engaging in activity that is contrary to the interest of the United States or the safety of the United States, they can try to revoke your visa for that.
Balitang-balita dito sa Amerika ang pagkakahuli sa isang Pinay na green card holder na na-detain ng Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Ano po ba ang dahilan kung bakit siya na-detain pagkatapos ng kanyang bakasyon sa Pilipinas? So siya ay isang green card holder at siya ay nagbiyahe from Philippines at nakabalik na po siya dito sa Amerika. Laging tatandaan na may mga deportable offenses kung ikaw ay may nakomit na crime dito sa Amerika. So kahit na ikaw ay isang green card holder, hindi ka 100% protected ng iyong legal status dahil hindi ka po isang US citizen.
A family trip back from the Philippines has been longer than expected since Llewellyn Dixon landed at SeaTac Airport in February.
She's been here over 50 plus years. Like, you would think that being a permanent resident is protected.
Lonnie Madriaga is Llewellyn Dixon's niece, who spoke with us from her home in Hawaii just hours after speaking with Dixon at ICE.
We were never provided any information why she was there.
She says her aunt never had an issue traveling in and out of America until returning from a vacation in Turkey last year, when a leftover ham sandwich triggered authorities.
She forgot it in her bag. So Customs warned her anytime when she comes back from international, they will have to search her.
So when her aunt was taken aside by Customs and Border Protection at SeaTac on February 28th,
she didn't think much of it because it's like, oh my God, it's because of that ham sandwich last year.
Madriaga says they didn't know what happened to Dixon until days later when her sister received a call from the ICE detention center in Tacoma.
Binasa ko ang mga comments at sinabi na siya isang green card guest in the US for 50 years. She committed a crime. Kung siya ay isang US citizen ay hindi na po siya dapat ma-detain. At malaki po kasi ang difference ng isang pagiging green card holder at isang US citizen. Kung ikaw ay isang US citizen, pwede kang magkaroon ng protection unless may makita na you obtain your citizenship through fraud or other illegal means. May nagsabi din na ang green card permanent resident ay hindi immune sa deportation, especially kung meron kang nakomit na crime.
Then that made us aware, like, oh my God, that this is a little bit more serious.
After weeks of speaking with a number of lawyers, Madriaga says an immigration attorney identified a potential reason for Dixon's detainment, an embezzlement conviction in 2001.
It's been so long that it happened, and that was a mistake.
She believes her aunt hasn't had any other issues and has even entered into the healthcare field as a lab technician for the University of Washington.
And she's been working over at University of Washington for almost 10 years. I don't think her job would be protected. So that was our biggest worry.
Madriaga says Dixon was only a teen when she immigrated to America back in the 1970s, watching over Madriaga and her sister, who were only 8 and 7 years old at the time.
She promised my mom that she'll always take care of us. So especially me and my sister. And she kept that promise, even to now.
Now Madriaga and her family are doing what they can to rescue their maternal figure, who spent decades watching over their family.
Let me talk about that. If you're a green card holder, you're not illegally in the United States. If you're a green card holder, you are legally in the United States. What the president has said, and I don't know how anybody can disagree with this, every country in the world has immigration laws. And immigration laws, if you don't enforce them, you don't have immigration laws. Over the last few years, we've had, 13, 14, 15 million people enter the United States unlawfully and irregularly. No country in the world can assume that. By the way, that's not unique to us, is that no society can absorb mass migration from anywhere in the world. You just can't do it. And so the president is doing something that frankly hasn't been done in a long time. He's enforcing our immigration laws. And that's what we're doing. So if you're a green card holder, you're not illegally in the United States. I think the challenge is for those who are illegally in the United States, we have to have immigration laws. They have to be followed. I mean, I don't know why that's an unreasonable demand. So we need to have immigration laws and we need to enforce them. And that's what the president is doing. That's what he promised voters he would do.
Marami pong salamat sa inyong pagsubaybay. Huwag niyo pong kalimutan na i-like at subscribe ang aking channel. Thank you guys for watching. I hope everyone is staying safe and have a great day.